Okay, so today is July 23rd, 2026. Gonna do a little walkthrough, little walkabout today. Here is the front deck. The Nicotiana has been blooming, and that's so cute. This geranium, this apple blossom is my absolute favorite, and I'm definitely gonna overwinter these because I want to grow those again. It's so pretty. Same with these petunias. I'm definitely going to, look how cute they are together, those pinks. I just love them. Grew those from seed. I think I got those from Johnny Seeds. And I think they're both called apple blossom. The color is apple blossom, geranium and petunia, but I'm gonna overwinter these. Look how pretty those are. And take a bunch of cuttings of the petunias. And then back here, so holy basil, really bushed out and it's really pretty. Here are, take a couple videos of the little pots. The elephant ears are growing. We had a really long heat wave. I think it was 9 or 10 days above 90, closer to 95 every day. So it was just hot and no rain. So they got a little fried, but they're hanging in there. So we got the sweet alyssum. These are some marigolds, no flowers yet. The zinnias are starting to flower. And then this one here, the other big pot that's up front here. But the zinnias are really taking off here. I think I need to come in deadhead. But those are looking good. Well, that's this area. And then here's the front pond. You can see the clover and the grass just got fried because I really don't like watering the grass if I don't have to. I did put the sprinkler out a few times, but it just got so crispy. These pots are doing okay. The sweet peas, fried. They got a little too dried out a couple times. They're still hanging in there though. We've got, still flowers and I'm getting some pods, so I think I'm just gonna let those go to seed and then collect them and pull them down because that just looks terrible, but what do you do? And then over here, the pond is looking really good. It has stayed clear for, I don't know if you can see in there, it's been like 3 weeks now. So I think this water lettuce is really helping. So I'm gonna try and overwinter that too because those just keep multiplying. I started with one plant and it just keeps growing, and I gave some to the neighbors too. The hyssop, the anise hyssop is flowering and the pollinators are loving that. So that's looking really pretty. Joe Pye weed back here. I had transplanted this earlier this year and that's starting to flower. So hopefully this will take over this front area in a couple years. I just want it full of that, and then some asters. And those have got little buds on them, so maybe another couple weeks and those will start flowering. And then over here, we'll walk along the front here. I love doing this little view. Here's our cute little trellis. The honeysuckle vine over on this side is really starting to wind in there and take off. And that vine's probably 2 years old now. This would be its 3rd summer, actually. And so this one is brand new, but it's the same variety. So in a couple years, those will just take over, and I imagine it'll just be covered and be really pretty. So here's our the front bed. A lot of yarrow. I do need to come and cut some of this yarrow back. This is lemon bee balm here, so that's an annual. But those are finally starting to bloom and those are looking pretty. My catmint is putting on more buds, so I think that will bloom again. the grasses, the liatris, and the mountain mint in here looks so pretty. And then there's some perennial bee balm back here, and then the phlox started blooming, and those are really pretty. So that's this bed. These are some asters. They're annual asters, but those are finally starting to grow. They were really stunted for a while. I think the heat, they just didn't like it, but they're starting to grow, and hopefully we'll have flowers soon. And then this is a foxglove. I put a couple throughout here, so next year I'll have some foxgloves in here. And then there's a sedum that I put in there this year. So that's the front bed. More phlox here. So and then there's some milkweed and black-eyed Susans. And I have a penstemon here that bloomed and went to seed, so I'm going to try and collect some of those seeds and start a few more of those for next year, because that was really cute. So that's that. My pussy willow is really grown. It's probably tripled in size. This will be its 3rd year. And last year, the rabbits ate it down to maybe about here. So all of this is new growth. And the Japanese beetles have really loved it this year. So I've been out here picking those off every day. You can see they're really doing a number on it, but just still hanging in there. Here is some more mountain mint. You can see the pollinators love it. There's a thread-waisted wasp in there, and a bunch of bees and soldier beetles. I love this plant. I'm definitely going to put some of this in the backyard too. I just love how it's kind of that silvery green, and I love that the pollinators love it. And that little phlox there was a volunteer. I must have seeded there last year. I got up front here. Here is another arbor. Lots of bee balm and echinacea on this side. And then there's 2 roses that are just hanging on. They did flower. Hopefully I'll get another flush with those, but this is a Rudbeckia that is supposed to be an annual, and this is its 3rd year that it's come back. So I just love that kind of peachy, apricot-y color. And then what do we got here? Some yarrow, some roses, our plum tree here. That's doing really good. There is a little wound on it that I'm watching, but I think it's going to be okay. It's looking pretty healthy, and it actually has put on a lot of new growth already since we've had it. So in a couple years, that's going to be really pretty. I imagine it's probably going to be a fairly good sized tree here. Not a large one, but a good size. Down here we've got yarrow, and here is Sweet Mademoiselle. She's been blooming. Her blooms are so pretty. I'm gonna step back in here. This one's a little gone over, but look how pretty and how big that is. And more buds on her. You can kind of see back in here. There's some cosmos, echinacea back here, some bee balm. This along the side here, this is all our bloomerang lilacs, and those are looking like there's some buds on them, so those will hopefully bloom again. Okay, I'm gonna step out of here without damaging anything. This is the Flavorette pear, and I think this is one of my favorite roses. She made it through winter with hardly any issues, hardly any dieback. Put on a ton of new growth, bloomed, just continued to bloom all summer so far. And her blooms are just so romantic and kind of, she gets a little droopy and it just looks so romantic, but she is so pretty. I absolutely love her. This is New Dawn. I need to make a new trellis for her. I'm gonna do like a kind of like a French obelisk. I just gotta build it, but look at how much growth. Look at this. She just is. I need to come out and trellis her better before any of these break off. No flowers yet, no buds, but tons of growth this year. Just finally, I think this is her 3rd year too, so hopefully I can get her to overwinter and have, she had little dieback last year, but not as much as some roses, but yeah, I'm hoping next year we'll just get a ton of blooms because she is so pretty. So I got to work on this fall, getting a trellis made for her. I should do that actually soon. This is Grand Dame, and again, another rose. She died all the way back to the ground. Last year she was teeny tiny, but had a handful of blooms, and they were so pretty. But lots of dieback over the winter, but just a ton of growth. All of this is new because, like I said, she died back to the ground. And look at all this healthy, dark foliage. Hardly any soft fly damage. Nothing really bothered her. She just grew like mad. And no flowers yet, but lots of growth. So she is happy as can be. And then let's go over this way. This is our mock orange. And then there's lots of bee balm and echinacea back here. This is meadow rue. That's a native plant. It's a little cosmos here, peony. Here is the serviceberry tree, looking really good. This is new this year again. So in a couple years, this thing will be really big and have a nice presence here. And the birds are loving it already. Got some bee balm back here. Another little rose. This is a landscape rose. It's too close to this bee balm, which is getting too tall, and I think I'm going to cut it back soon because it's flopping and looking really kind of gnarly, but it's too close to this. So I think I'm going to move this rose maybe right in here and fill in this gap, because I had, where this kind of gap is, I had some stones here, and then I took them out because we never walked through there on the stones anyways, and I used those in the backyard. So I'm going to fill this in with plants, but I think that will be really pretty right there. And it's just a sweet little landscape rose, little baby shrub rose with teeny little white flowers, but so pretty. And then back here, my delphiniums are blooming, and again, crowded out by this bee balm, so I'm gonna move those, and I think those are gonna go right here where these cosmos kind of volunteered this year. So, and I'm just gonna kind of pan back here, but nothing's really going on back here, just a mess. I do need to come, and I still haven't done it, I haven't had time, but pull out all this creeping Charlie and creeping bellflower, and I'm going to put more ferns. So hopefully eventually this will just all be ferns. And this will be a good area because it's north facing and it doesn't get too much sun throughout the day. So I think the ferns will be really happy here and much better than creeping Charlie and creeping bellflower. And then the bloomering lilacs go all the way down here. We did put some bird feeders here. Then we've got the maple back here, and the birds just kind of love this little area between the houses. So we've got the bird feeders, and then we just added this little bird bath over here. We just moved it, I should say, because it was in the center before, but now we've moved it here. And the birds actually really like it over here. They're on it all day. And then Scott, he can sit in his room down there and watch the birds out his window. The hydrangeas are starting to bloom. My stargazers are in full glory right now, and they just look absolutely amazing. And I still come out every single day and look for the Asian beetles, or whatever they're called, the Asiatic, whatever those beetles are that eat the lilies. And I haven't found that many lately, which is good, but not a lot of damage, so I'm really happy. But I wish you could smell this. I wish you could smell a vision, because it is just absolutely breathtaking. This is Sitting Pretty Rose. She had a lot of softfly larva damage this year, but she is hanging on, putting on new growth still. She still has really pretty flowers. Look at how sweet. So eventually when she grows big enough, I imagine this gap will be filled and we'll have a rose and then the lilies, and that will be really pretty. This is her 3rd year again, so I do need to do better winter protection, but she didn't have a whole lot of dieback, but I wonder if because she was one of the first roses to put on new growth, if the softfly larvae just flocked to her and then they just kind of got stuck in this area. I don't know, but looks like that has started to slow down because a lot of her growth is looking pretty good. And then over here, this is Tranquility. Had some softfly larvae, but not a lot. But lots of canes on this one, and when the first flush happened, it was absolutely gorgeous, and her bloom smells so pretty. So, just working on getting these roses so that they'll get established in winter well, and I feel like that will be really pretty to have those white roses underneath these lilies eventually. And then I've got peonies there and another little bird bath up here. So that's kind of up against the house, and then we'll just pan around here. So this is the center bed with most of the roses are in here, and it's looking a little kind of sad right now. The yarrow is flopped over and I need to come and cut that back so we'll have another bloom. This geranium is kind of slow but hanging in there. Princess Charlene having another flush. Look how pretty she is. She died back to the ground, but she's looking good. Got some really pretty snapdragons this year. I really want to do those again. Those were so pretty. Another Princess Charlene here. She's so pretty. So we'll just kind of walk around. So I have 3 Princess Charlenes in this area, and eventually I want them to kind of grow together. There is a peony there, but Princess Charlene here, over here, and then over here. And then I did put some foxgloves in, so next year I will have some really pretty foxgloves. I think there's like 3 or 4 kind of in this area. This White Eden died, never came back, so I'm looking for a John Davis rose. I want to put that there because that's supposed to be really winter hardy with minimal dieback, and it's the pink that I'm looking for. And then I might get Above and Beyond as well, which is kind of like an apricot-y cream color, but those 2 are supposed to be really hardy, and I think they'll be pretty together and cover this arbor eventually. The gladiolas are starting to bloom, which are really pretty. I'll come and walk up next to those in a second. I have another rose down here, Passionate Kisses, and she's got more buds on her, so she's going to do another flush. She's been really healthy. I put her in last year, so this would be her 2nd year. And going around here, this White Eden I thought for sure was a goner, and I left it, and it's finally putting on some new growth. So that is really exciting. So I didn't lose that one. This rose is Queen Elizabeth. Just these darling pink. She is doing really well. Here's the gladiola. Look how pretty that is. Love this one. It's like this creamy white with like little purple stamen. This rose in here was mislabeled. It was supposed to be John Davis, and it's not. I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's Frontenac. But it's too red, so it will get pulled out of here after we get through the hottest part of the summer. And it's gonna go in the backyard because I want only pinks and pastel colors up here. These are more foxgloves, so I put a bunch in here in the center. Look at this yarrow. It's so pretty, but look at it just flopping. Yeah, that needs to be cut back. I'll probably come out today or tomorrow and cut those back, and then hopefully we'll get one more bloom before the end of the summer. My basket is looking really pretty. This is Bacopa. I forget what the pink flower is. I can't remember, but I love the Bacopa, and I definitely want to do that every year because I love how it just fills out in trails. I think this winter I'm going to try and take cuttings of that and overwinter some of that for next year. So I'm going to keep walking around here. Eventually I want this arbor to be covered with roses, and I did put some clematis in there too. It's just, you know, you learn as you go. Roses are hard to overwinter here in Minnesota, so I'm working on getting more hardy varieties and figuring out what works. But eventually, that's the goal, just to have that covered. I've got a peony in here. There's some gladiolas, more yarrow here. This is Awakening, and she is so pretty. She did not have a lot of dieback, so I think this one is going to be a good one here. As long as I can get her to overwinter, eventually I think she'll climb a little bit. I think right now her longest cane is about 4 feet, but it's a nice chunky one, so as long as I can get those to overwinter, I think she'll do well. But she's very pretty and smells really good too. I love that little soft pink. There's another gladiola there. Going around here, I put a lot of the holy basil in. I've got this sweet alyssum that I put it all around, and it just hasn't really grown. Like usually in years past, by now it's full, and it's just, I mean, it's growing, but it's just slow. I did fertilize it the other day, so I'm hoping that gave it a boost. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get the drip system out here too, I think, so that might help. This rose here is Perfume Madame Anisette, and she's got a bud on her, but just really pretty, creamy. When she blooms, she's really pretty, so I'm looking forward to seeing her again. Here is Calypso, another just soft, kind of apricot-y pink rose. She's doing well, and both of these died to the ground, but came back, and I feel like if I can get them to overwinter and not die back to the ground, they will get bigger, and eventually I'll get there. And then I have one more rose here, and this bee balm needs to come out. I had put it here years ago and pulled it out, and these are from what little roots were left, so I will pull those out. And I think actually I'm gonna probably put them up over here around this area, because the pollinators do love them. They just get so tall. They're too tall for the rose area, and then also they get powdery mildew, and I don't like that for my roses. So, but here is another rose back in here, and this is Perfuma Earth Angel, and she had a couple blooms, and oh my gosh, they were beautiful and smelled amazing. I hope she has another flush, but she's looking pretty good. She died back over the winter, but she's hanging in there. So, and then I put in this forsythia. Right here you can kind of see this shoot and this one that kind of comes this way. So hopefully in a couple years it will grow into a nice bush, and we'll fill in this area and add a little bit of kind of some structure to this area, because it's looking a little kind of weak right now with the roses being so small, and the yarrow does help, but when that starts going over and flopping, it looks kind of messy. And yeah, so that's the front. So I'm just gonna kind of do one quick pan, and then we'll go look at the backyard. So there we are. And this up front here, this is a rue, R-U-E, not the meadow rue, it's the herb rue, and the pollinators have loved that. And we've had so many swallowtail caterpillars on it, which has been awesome. My little giant arborvitaes are doing really well, and so I hope in a couple years that they'll get established and look pretty good. Magnolia is looking good. Put on a lot of new growth this year. Happy about that. So in a couple years, I think she's going to be a really nice statement piece here. So there we go. Let's go into the backyard. My irises looking a little crispy from that heat wave, but still hanging in. These pots back here get so much sun, and the poor elephant ears just got fried. But I'm keeping them watered, but it still looks pretty good. And I love them with the zinnias. I think they're so cute. So that's that. All right, let's walk back here. So it is a little bit of a mess back here because I have been working when I can, but it's been hot. But look at the tomatoes. Gangbusters. Like this, they're taller than me. They've just gone crazy. So I've been harvesting tomatoes. There's a bunch of fat boys in there. A bunch that are ready. Scott put this in. It's a little duck that's a tomato. It's so cute. But those are looking really good. The hollyhock is still blooming, but starting to go to seed. The cosmos is taken off, and that looks really pretty over here. On this side, I have tomato here that's not doing as well as the others, but still hanging in there. And then green beans in here, and then morning glories. And then look at the morning glories. So pretty. They look so pretty. So they're just kind of taking over. This looks so lush. And look at, they just kind of spill over, and I love it. Crazy plant lady. So look at this. Sorry if I'm moving too fast, I'm gonna go slower. So cosmos, blooming, filling in nicely. Back here, I've got the Major Wheeler honeysuckle, which I think I'm gonna move. I wanted it to climb along this back fence, but I think I'm gonna move it. Morning Glory's taking over this, lots of weeds. And then there's a little raspberry in here. And I think this fall I'm gonna take down this compost area and put some of the lilacs back here. It's just not working as the compost area like I wanted to. These sunflowers are starting to bloom. These are just some ones that self-seeded. And the melon, I think it's cantaloupe that I put in, is finally taken off. I think it's really liked the heat, but probably won't get any melons, but that's okay. And then over here, the cosmos is growing. The cucumbers are growing. Haven't seen any got lots of flowers, but no fruit yet. The motherwort, we're dog sitting. This is Meeple. Hi, Meeple. Look at all the marigolds here. No flowers yet, but they're hanging in there. Some of those beautiful pink geraniums. So pretty. All right, so this is the backyard. It's kind of a mess right now. We do need to mow again, but we've been busy and it's been freaking hot. So these last 3 days have been just so nice. Like the high has been like 80. So, but what I did this past week, my major project was putting drip irrigation in the backyard here. And it took me about 5 days to figure out the plan, and then probably 5 more days to get it actually installed. And yesterday I came in and started burying some of the hosing. So, but I put, you can see here, down here, so it kind of runs along here, and then it runs along the back. And then I have tubes going to each plant. So this Weigela You can see I buried, you can kind of see a little trench here. But this has some emitters. All the trees have emitters to them. The ferns, I've got some sprayers in there. Even these pots on the shed, you can see the tube I have going up. And they've only been on a drip system for 4 or 5 days now, but look at the impatiens. Just really took off. So they really do love water, but look how pretty those are. I just love those. So pretty. And then the arborvitaes are gonna do so much better with the drip system. This is the Shiloh Splash Birch, and looking really good. Right now it kind of looks like it's a bush, but eventually it will grow into a tree. I do need to get mulch like around this Weigela. I dug out the grass around it, but I need to put some mulch down today. This is the hawthorn. It's looking a little crispy, but not too bad. Those really hot days, it was hard on it, but I think I do have the drip on it now, so that's gonna really help. And then back here, I put those cosmos, and I did some sunflowers and some zinnias, and those are starting to take off. So in between the arborvitaes for the next couple of years, I think I'm gonna do that. Just do some annuals in there. Gosh, look how sad the arborvitaes look with the heat. But so you can see the drip. You can see the little tubes run into them. That's gonna help them take off, I think. The lilacs here. This is a hydrangea that eventually will be really pretty. This is a juniper. And we've got two of these. So I have this mirrored on each side of this bench here, but there's 2 front ones on each side, so there's a total of 4. Those are the Miss Kim lilac, and then behind them there's 2 on each side, so 4 total of the common lilac. And those are just going to get too big back here, so I'm going to take those out and put those behind the shed where the compost is. And I'll do that in the fall before they get too established. I already moved them once this spring, so those are going to get moved. And then over here, look at, we need to mow so bad, like we can't even see where our brick walkway is. It is underneath here. But here's our little bench. So I put some little branches across the top, and I made like a little macrame lattice on the back, and then the Sweet Autumn Clematis is just going gangbusters, and it looks so pretty. And then I have a white Eden rose here, one on the back, and then here is Tess of the Uberville, and she has been blooming and blooming and blooming, and she's got another bud, and they're just so pretty. This white Eden died to the ground. I thought it was a goner, but it's put on a ton of growth. No flowers yet, but just huge. This one's gonna be so big, and I think it's gonna be much happier back here. We'll get more wind protection for sure than up front, so I think we'll have less dieback. But this is this sweet little bench. Eventually we'll be covered with flowers and plants. And then back here we've got this rogue sunflower that I just left. So the whole back line here is the arborvitaes, and then the cosmos that kind of is in between. And some zinnias, you can see that's what these short ones are. Eventually those will flower. And here, oh, sorry, don't want to look at the dog bomb, but here's the drip system that I still need to bury on this side so that you don't see it, and then also so that we can mow. And that's part of the reason why we haven't mowed, is because I've got tubes everywhere. So here, this is a sweet little service berry that I thought was dead, and it's hanging in there. Got some more bee balm back here. The elderberries, look at how big these flower heads are. Well, I should say at this point, sorry, seed berries. Just amazing. So I'm hoping we'll have a lot of elderberries that can make some syrup this year. This tree just got huge this year. And then, so back here, the yews have been putting on a ton of growth, so they're really happy. This bed, actually these two beds, I did this drip system, so I kind of created this little structure, and then I have the tubes. I have several of them. I think there's 4 tubes running throughout with like a drip line, and so that is watering all of those flowers. So there's mostly stock, and there's some straw flowers and snapdragons in there. And then here, another rose. This is Campfire. Still, oh, the sun here, still blooming and looking so pretty. Still got buds on her. She's bloomed all summer. I put some Nicotiana back here. Here's some more of the Princess Charlene, and she is super happy back here. Look at how pretty. Look at how pretty those ruffled petals are. And she's got tons of buds. So I have 2 of her back here, 1 on each corner here. And she's looking very, very healthy. Again, died back to the ground, but look at all this new growth. This is one of our apple trees, looking really good. That's the center bed. Here's so I have to bury this. We had to put PVC tubing to put the drip line through, so I can bury this under the walkway because you don't want to walk on it so it doesn't crush it. So I have 2 of these that I'm gonna have to bury, but there's one of them, and it will get buried under this walkway. And eventually we're gonna do wood slats and then pea gravel. So over here, you can see all my drip line everywhere, but so the blueberries are so much happier with the drip line. And finally, I think the soil, you can see here, sorry, this got crispy from all that heat that we had. It gets full sun here most of the day, poor thing. But the drip is really gonna help. Yeah, so this is kind of what we're looking at back here. The hydrangeas are looking good. There's a white Eden here and a white Eden there. Both of those are looking really good. Those are new this year as well. Look at how sweet the little table looks. I need to come out and water those snapdragons on that basket. So back here, I've got all these are foxgloves, and I finally got the drip system on those too. So these next year will be some really nice flowers. You can see the hedgerow just chugging along. It's my cute little swing. It's nice back here in the shade. The raspberries, I think I had 8 or 9 pints of raspberries, and there's still a couple on here, but I think for the most part it's done flushing. Maybe I'll get a few more. I think last year I got a couple sporadically. I'm gonna walk back here. So you can see all the drip. I put sprayers in the raspberries and the blackberries. This is covered to keep the birds off the blackberries now that the raspberries are done. Over here, I've got a little pot of snapdragons, and I did run a drip line to this, because I would forget to water this pot back here. But it's right by this bird bath that clearly needs some water. But this is kind of the side yard where the birds come from the maple tree. And so they'll fly from the maple tree to the bird feeders in the bird bath, and then we put bird feeders there, and then the other bird bath. So there's a lot of activity over here. So it's kind of fun to sit in the little swing and watch the birds. The hydrangeas got crispy from the heat. I really need to clean up this rhubarb. It looks so sad. Here, the sweet alyssum is looking like it should up front, but I don't know why it's not growing like this back up there. The panicle hydrangea is starting to flower. There's lots of milkweed back here that just showed up. This rose, Kiss Me Kate, I thought was dead, and it put on new growth. The sawfly larva got to it, but there's looking pretty good. Hydrangea flopped over. I tied it up. It's got some sun damage from when we got really heat, a lot of the heat, but it still looks pretty. I just like I love hydrangeas, even when they flop. I just love them. There's a dog bed. We've got our little Arbor Vitae and the Dwarf Alberta spruce, and then this little bed here. So we've got this 4x8. So the Bolero roses, there's 4 of them in here, and those are starting to bloom. Look how pretty. Just sweet little roses, they're so pretty. And we've got strawberries in here. So the alpine strawberries are there, and then the everbearing are here. Actually, I think these are June bearing. But they got a little crispy, but now that I've got the drip line in there, I think they will be happier. And then up here, here's our little crabapple. She is doing good. I haven't seen any more signs of aphids on her. And look at all the plants just growing, so happy. Look at these straw flowers. They're so cute. Just this soft pink. All right, so we'll go over here to the center bed. So here's our other plum tree. This one is put on a lot more growth than the one in the front yard, but both are still looking pretty good. This is a sweet little rose called Chuckles, and she has been non-stop blooming all summer. Just these pretty little blooms. Most of these in here are dahlias, and this year I will label them when I pull them out so I know which is which, because last year I just threw them all in one container and so I didn't know what was what variety. But I think these smaller ones, the ones with the littler heads, not the dinner plate ones, I think those would be nicer up front next year. And then put the dinner plate ones back here. Let's see. Oh, I forgot to show you over here. This honeysuckle is struggling, and I don't know, I think maybe it got spider mites. Maybe it got overwatered. I don't know, but I'm really watching this. I mean, it's still growing, it's still got growth, but the yellowing concerns me, so I've really got to keep an eye on this, because this one is one of my favorites. It was so pretty. But this is iceberg. All the flowers are spent, but look at how pretty those clumps. So eventually when this climbs up the arbor, can you just imagine how pretty that's going to be with those clumps of roses? I'm going to walk around this way. So this is the other tube that I need to bury. So we've got the drip line running. So our spigot is over here, and it's on a timer, and it runs through here, and then it goes through this bed, and then it branches out across over there to get into the backyard. Here's another rose. I forget which one this is, but again, really pretty white single petal rose. There's a hydrangea in there. That's just one of the little ones. I think it's little Quickfire or little Hottie. I can't remember. The Liatris. It's full of pollinators right now. Look how pretty everything looks. Okay, I'm gonna walk past my arbor here and go this way. So the dahlias, the plum, the snapdragons here have been doing so good. Look at how pretty these are. I just love these snapdragons. Here is one of the, I think this is one of the dinner plate dahlias. So pretty. Forget which one this is called. I'm gonna step back here. Here's a Hawkeye Bell. Look how pretty. This one is pretty winter hardy. Not a lot of dieback on this rose. She's so pretty. And I have two of them right next to each other. So here, and then this one was up front and did not do well, died back a lot. So it's a little bit farther behind than this one, but eventually I think that's gonna be a really pretty presence there. I've got some holy basil, really pretty mounds of holy basil this year. The lilies are pretty much done. Looks like there's a stargazer bulb in there. These are, I think these are the dinner plate ones that are starting to open. Oh, sorry, I'm in the way. I've got some yarrow here. Get some more snapdragons, more dahlias, some bee balm. Look at this pretty hydrangea. Just this really lacy. So she starts out white and then kind of has this pinky tone. So pretty. And then these two plants right here. This is the rose mallow or swamp mallow. It's like the hardy hibiscus. So hopefully those will overwinter and eventually we'll have some really pretty flowers on those. This I think is an echinacea that I put in right next to them here. And then back here is a foxglove, and then there's two hollyhocks. So next year, this will be really pretty when everything gets established. And I'm not sure what I'm gonna put in place of the dahlias next year, because I don't know that I'm gonna put them in here. I might put a couple, but I wanna get more perennials in this area. And then here's the beds on the patio, or not the beds, but the pots. There's some scabiosa, some rudbeckias. We've got more of the petunias, some impatiens, my houseplant, the schefflera. Yeah, it's kind of a mess on the patio because we are struggling with what to do with this sunshade, because we put these posts in. You can see I've got a brace and the big block of stone holding it in place, and then the other one back there just moves. But our soil here is so sandy, and even with digging down the 30 inches that the poles required, so there are poles that have like a screw system at the bottom, like a corkscrew kind of, and so you're supposed to be able to just go in 30 inches and then that anchors it to the ground. But our soil is so sandy, so even when the wind blows, these posts are rocking back and forth, and there's about a 12-inch gap now from it rocking back and forth. So we thought, we bought all this concrete, we were gonna anchor them, but now because this sunshade has been in the heat, it's sagged and kind of, I don't know, the fabric is kind of loosened, so it's really saggy. So we were like, well, now we got to move the posts farther back, and I don't want to move them farther back. I think that's going to look really stupid, and I don't want something permanent with that. So now we're thinking, my original thought was I wanted a gazebo, like a hardtop gazebo or a pergola, and we didn't want to put the money into that because eventually we're going to do the remodel. But because that's years out, maybe 5 to 7 years, hopefully closer to 5, we weren't going to do the pergola. But now we're thinking, well, it's probably worth it to do the pergola because the sunshade just isn't working. it just whips around in the wind too much and it makes me nervous, even though it's great for the shade. So anyways, that's the saga. So this is the mess. And then when it was really hot, I got this little pool. It's not a pool, it's one of those rafts or whatever, a sunbather that you can fill with water, just to cool off because it was really hot. But here's some, I have new pots that I got from a garage sale that I still need to fill with stuff. And then back here I've got my little propagation station, and I've got some seeds that I started, and when it got really hot everything fried, so everything is stunted. So yeah, I might have to, I don't know, they're still growing but just slower than I would like. And then here's this pretty window box, and so that's just kind of the state of things out here. Oh, I'm gonna go in and show you. So major projects back here. Bury the drips hoses, do the walkways with the wood and the pea gravel, and then figure out what we're gonna do with this wind thing. So I'm gonna go in the house because I wanna show you not my mess in here, but I wanna show you my other propagation that I have in the house. So I have these monsteras finally rooted, so those need to get potted up. I have some pots, I'm gonna put those in. Look at the snapdragons. Aren't they just so pretty? I keep picking them because I want the plants to get bushier out there, but they're so pretty. But back here, I have a bunch of seeds that I collected that I'm waiting for them to finish drying so I can box them up. But I have another propagation station here where I've got some roses, and I took the, I think the mock orange and the currant bush because I want to add some of those throughout the backyard too. So I've got some of those started, and then a couple hydrangea. Let's see, there's one there and one there. Those are the hydrangeas that are rooting, and then a couple roses. So yeah, that is exciting in my little propagation. And oh, here's another sweet little bouquet on my messy table because I have been busy planning the drip system, but look how sweet that is. It's so pretty. All right, that's it for today, and I'll try and do another video next week. Yeah, look how pretty. Bye now.